Yo, welcome back to the channel, guys. If you haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't. Fantastic, we've got that out of the way. I'm doing a rewire today by myself, just one day. I'm going to start. The customer's living in it, so we're just doing a couple of bedrooms, and then we're going to go below next week. But lath and plaster has been removed. Most of the brick has been exposed, except for that wall, because it's solid enough it can stay on. What I'm going to do, 35mm back boxes in the wall, so we're going to chisel them in a little bit with that bad boy, Metabo SDS. And on top of it, I'm going to use flexi conduit to do our drops. So it'll be glanded in, we can bring it below the floor, but first of all, we need to pick the floors up. So I bought some fresh multi-tool blades. We'll start picking them up. We want to get a run this side, I want to get a run this side. The customer, by the looks of it, is going to be keeping the floor and sanding it. So we want to make sure the cuts are delicious. All right, just for the job, I went to B&Q yesterday and they ripped me off for 20 quid for these 3 blades. Ow. Every time I start a rewire, I buy a new pack of blades. Just much easier, especially older buildings as well. Floorboards are a lot thicker, so you're gonna need it. Starlock blades, good thing about these. Bye now. Jobs are good, nice and sharp. Tongue and groove, I'm gonna set the hoover up, so you'll see me do a little bit, but because the ceiling's been dropped, there's still a lot of ground dust. When I'm multi-tooling, it's going to create some dust. So I might as well stick the hoover on and run it across at the same time, collect the dust, stop the airborne stuff, spread it into the other rooms. Not that it really matters, to be honest, if all the rooms are like it, but the ceiling still needs to be dropped in there, the hallway, and in the bathroom, and in the bedroom next door. So we're going to try and concentrate on this room, that room, the loft stuff I can do from here, and then I'm going to have to go to the loft for that bit, but that's fine. We've got PPE, we've got masks, we've got goggles, we've got gloves, we've got everything we need to get the job done right. You're welcome. It's quite easy. Half of this side's already been taken up the tongue. So I'm going to get the jimmy bars out if they're in the van. Which I don't think they are. Pry that one up, do this side. Going to get the laser out, mark out the sockets, which I've marked up here. So there's 4 sockets going in here, 1 Ethernet point, light switch is moving over, and just a pendant to be replaced. Like I'm saying, we're keeping the old power on until the last day. So anything new that's going in is going in new positions until the last day, which is going to be the exchangeover day, but that's not going to be for a few weeks because we're just going to have to do these rewiring stages, which is quite nice. We can plod with it, pick it up every now and then. This is going to be nothing but noisy for you guys. My big jimmy bars in the unit somewhere. Now we've broken the first seal, should we say, so you can see that. When we pulled up the first one, the nails are pinched out. You can see your second line here. Go just in front of that. See, the further along you go, the less you want to be sat directly over it. It's either ping you in the balls or in the face. So be careful with that, but we'll work my way down. Another thing, like I said earlier, if you're trying to do it and the customer wants to keep the floor as best as possible, this pry bar is pretty rubbish for it because it's so little. But when you're getting under there, when you bend up, you're going to be squishing the wood. If you can, get something underneath it that's metal, and then the surface area greatly improves, and you don't dent the wood whatsoever. And if you do, it's just a tiny bit. You start using small stuff like this, as you go in, you're just going to take a big notch out of the floorboard, which will be really noticeable. And after a little bit, you get to the point where, depending how brave / strong you are, you can get your fingers under the end. This board has been split before. That wasn't me. But you get under it and you start getting it some yanks. As you pull that up to a certain point, you can get, like you say, something underneath it. This probably isn't the cleverest thing to do, but we've all been there. We found a pipe now as well. Fantastic. But as we go along, this is maintaining pressure on the board. So as we get down with our hammer now, which would be much easier and less damage to the board, we can pry this up much easier because of the maintained pressure on the far side. Once the pressure's gone from that, just move it down a couple of joists, maintain the pressure. And then when we get this far, you can pretty much pull up the last 2. Don't yank it too much or you'll snap it, but you can give it a good wriggle side to side and it'll help just pull the nails out. And now, the best part of advice I'll ever give you. knock all the nails out. These ones aren't very sharp because they're very old, but it's still going to hurt. Put your hand on it, your kneel on it, elbow on it. If you're not wearing boots, it'll go through it. So turn the board upside down, take it off the joist it was sitting on so you've got floor space. Right, and then for the first time ever, I'm actually going to keep the screws, because if the customer wants to sand the floor down and I don't want to be putting big brand new screws in it, you want it to match. So I'm going to put these in a little pot and then they can have them afterwards and they can do as they please. Do with as they please. Yeah, that's right. It's a quick lesson for people new to the trade. Originally I thought this was a pipe, it's actually old conduit. So back in the day, these type of houses here were actually wired in singles, normally fabric singles, within metal conduit that was placed in the building when it was built. So this is 40s, late 30s, 40s maybe. So you would see this and then you would go, right, okay, there might be still some fabric stuff in it, I don't know. But I'm not gonna rip it out, just leave it there. But well, I've missed a nail, 2 nails. Keeping them safe. Right, if you want to step up to the next level, I'm sort of jumping the gun a bit here. I'm sort of getting this bit done and I'll do that one and I'll jump across. Get yourself a laser, any laser will do. Stick it down. Then when you start doing your holes for all your cables, it's a nice straight line. When you pull it through, either on a cable drum or on a spool or whatever, it'll be nice and sweet and delicious. Just little tips here and there. I'm sprinkling them around for you guys. It makes the job look a bit better. When the customer comes up and looks at it and go, oh, it's a straight line, you'll be like, oh, I try. Right, what I have done, we don't do it all the time, I'm not going to try and lie to you guys, I've just gone and run the hoover around on the joists. The reason for this is because still, when we do this, the ceiling downstairs is going to be dropped. So the ceiling downstairs is going to be dropped, and the more stuff I can hoover up that I've created, the less stuff is going to drop on the customer's head when it gets pulled down. If you've got the chance to hoover, we do it sometimes, the hoover's up here. A lot of the time I say to you guys, it's just a bit of sawdust, it ain't the end of the world. But what I would say is when you're chasing walls, do get the stuff above under the floor, because the extra weight and everything on the plasterboard is never going to be good for anyone. Now that's done, I'm going to start chase that one. There's one going in here, but this is all getting pulled off and reboarded, and then some big plywood because there's a radiator going in the middle here, and there's no insulation because it is actually cold in here. So, well, I was cold. So that's all going to be cellotexed up. So my access point for this socket and this socket, I'm going to come from this side. I've drilled through here, and we will run a flexicon there, and then there's not one going over there because it's a fitted wardrobe. So if you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5 going in here. So yeah, get that up. Get this. We might not even be able to get this board up here. I was thinking we're going to have to get the other board up, but realistically everything could rod. To be fair, I want to be able to put some clips in it and support it, because especially if they're going to be dropping the ceiling downstairs, thinking about it, we'll get a bit of cable sag. So it wouldn't hurt, pull up another board. It didn't take too long. It's a lot quicker with 2 of us. I understand that now. Like, I'm so used to having Adam here. When we do stuff, I could pick the board up, he would drill the holes while I'm starting something else. But when you got to do it all yourself, it does add up. Definitely worth getting an apprentice, guys. Unfortunately, Ben is getting his theory test today. Adam's ill, so it's just me, luckily. I know what I'm doing. Right, laser set up. I haven't got my laser pole, just a YouTube short. Hang a saw up and put it on the base, and you can literally hang it anywhere, move it up and down. We're going 400 to the tops. I'm going to put that on, mark it out. We'll get the chaser out, we'll do the depth, 35 mil, well, a bit more than 35 mil to get the boxes in. Obviously this has still got the plaster on it, so we need to do full chase for this. I'm going to do the chase when we run it across, we do the depth, it will then slot in instead of me chiseling out the brickwork. While we've got this, there's so much to be plastered. I've not got an issue with making a bit more mess. Bring it down. I'm just going to ring the customer up and ask, is the skirting staying? The fact it's been left on all the way round makes me think yes, but then there's none around the chimney breast. We're missing a bit around there. My life would become a lot easier if I can just, I'm not going to rip the whole skirting off, I'm just going to multi-tool the bit out that I want to get to drop the Copex down. So let me have a phone conversation. That's out. We're drawing the line further on so we can follow it with the chaser, put some mats down, put the floor back down. Like I said, don't fill the floor up. Oh, beautiful. Don't fill the floor up with all the stuff that you just pulled off the wall. Chaser is set to about 38, 39 mil. Plugged into the extractor, and yeah, away we go. And there we have it. That wall is deliciously soft. Let me get a box. I think I just need to run the chisel. Oh no. Sorry, I've realised I'm not pointing at the thing. Look pretty good there. I'm going to take a few of the burrs off the back. Just like that. And that should fit in. And the customer, just spoke to the customer, we can chop out what we need of the skirting. We can run that in. Nice. Okay, that's chiseled out. That's in. That'll allow us to do some glands, but I'm going to put the glands on now just to triple check that they do fit in, and I'm not going to all this effort for no reason. The reason I've done 2, if we're going to do 20 mil conduit, yeah, it's 20 mil. You could get 2 up. The conduit itself, within a few feet up within the conduit, you're absolutely fine. But when you get to the gland end, it actually steps down, I think, to about 17 mil. So you could do it, but if you're making this anyway, you might as well do two chases, 1 in, 1 out, and go from there. So let me just get the glands over there. So here, so that's a 20 mil hole, but then the internal bit for where the cable goes through, that's not 20 mil. We'll give it a go. It's actually flush with the back, which I'm happy about. It's quite a big knuckle, that's why I spaced them over. I didn't put them right next to each other, because that wouldn't have worked. Right, now they're on. They're gonna fit. They're gonna fit. Right, let me just chop this out. And we're in. Beautiful. So I'm not going to screw this box back in there until I've already fed the conduit. So next thing is drill down there, we'll hoover that out, drill down there, and then we should be able to just link some conduit up. I'm just going to stick some all-round band. I'll run you through that as well. Quick tip or lesson for you, which I keep forgetting about. When you're putting sockets in, there's 2 different ways to do it. I put all the boxes in and chase all first, then put the cables in. A lot of people turn around and put all the cables in, and then put the boxes in. And this is so you don't hit smack bang in the centre of a joist when you're trying to chase up or down. And I've just made the mistake of not checking this. Luckily, I've got away with it. So we've already know where the joists are, because we can pick this up and we can see it there. So we've just missed out this. So before I chase that out in a little bit, I'm going to triple check that that's not in the way, but always check. So I much rather make the mess first, tidy everything up for the first few days, run the cables, see if the job seems to go better, rather than running the cables, then making a mess. I just prefer it my way. But if you get the chance, make sure you check where the joists are, because we've been there before. You end up having to chase and then tuck it down or whatever you've got to do, where it's not the best. If you do it another way by just checking joist lines, then you're sorted. Next thing, I just want to put the conduit in the wall. I might have to just tack a bit off there to make sure it's completely flush. We've got the all-round band out, but I need to fix this back to the wall. Obviously, there being a 35mm box, we're taking a good chunk of the wall out. So I'm going to measure the thickness of the wall for a red plug, and then we can get our fixings in, get our plugs in place, attach our conduit, and then get that fixed back as well. Right, we've got our plugs in, our conduit, we feed that down there. It's a bit of slack. We know that is loads of room. I'm probably taking too much out, but that's sound. We've got a plug in there for the all-round band. What we're going to do for the all-round band, this is the really thick stuff that I bought, which I'm not overly impressed with. It's just too tough, to be honest. There we go. So it clicks. Get that up, and it's a compression gland, so as you tighten it up, it'll just compress on the Flexicon. Down there. Someone hasn't brought a impact driver up because I couldn't be bothered to carry it upstairs. Let's flush with that. So we go with the magnet. So that's a bit off. I twist that up. Beautiful. Right, all-round band. It's 5 holes, guys. See, this is the stuff as well. It's like so thick, the all-round band. You can't even push a screw all the way through. You physically have to screw it. It's a bit annoying. So that's it. That's our finished product. We'll be able to find the tails under here in a little bit. I'm going to go around, do the rest of these ones in this room, behind me, over there, over there, over there, over there. and then we will do some link throughs. I'll wire this one up to that one. So give us 20 minutes, no problem. Get these done, and then I can run some cables and show you how easy it is, or not easy. I'll be the guinea pig. Okay, I've been grafting for the past couple of hours. I like to admit, I've got somewhere and it looks pretty good. So I've been tidying up as we've been going round. We've got double socket, Ethernet, double socket, lath and plaster I've cut off, but what I've done here, which I'll show you in a minute, is I've actually run FlexiCon from this corner straight across, and then another link, and then back, just because that's going to get filled with loads of insulation, and I'll be able to find the cables, but I've clipped them all behind. Show you in a minute. Light switch is done. Sunk that in a bit further, just to give us the finish. It goes up, and then we've got a link through there. So now's the time that I've been waiting for, and you've been waiting for, is it going to be simple for me to just feed 125 up, and then 125 down, and link it across? I'll set the drum up, and we'll do these links to start with. Right, drum 25. An empty drum 25, so it's going to pull off this constantly. Absolutely mint. Let's give this a go. Left hand tube. Now it's going to be a bit funny getting around this angle. There's always the way with these glands, because they're narrow on the inside. As it goes through, it hits the rim, so you've got to sort of twist it and pull it. And I'll show you something I did next door in a second, which might actually beat this problem. Ooh. Right, job's a good one. Got that in there. That comes around there. I'm going to do this a couple of times, through and about. I'll show you what I've done here. So instead of me getting all the floor up over here, which I didn't really want to do just to get across to that socket, because we can go down this run, and the floor downstairs, normally you would pull up all the edges of the floors. I like it, the socket's downstairs. The socket's downstairs, the floor is raised as well. So we can do exactly what we've done here, down there. So there's no need for me to get boards up over there. So what I've done, Flexi, they've got the cable clips on there. They're nice and taut and supported. They pop out there, they come back. So off this socket, I can go straight down, all the way to this last one, back to this one, all the way back. I'll then go straight back through these holes, over to that one. Well, actually, that's actually fed next door. So we can go into that room, there's a socket behind the door, then there's this one, then there's that one. Then we'll go the far side, bring it to that one. But this first one here is going to be fed off this bedroom, which I can't get in yet because it's full of their furniture and everything. So today's job was sockets, get the light switch in, then get it boarded. So I'll do a few more. I'll tell you if it's easier this way or the way I've done it in there. Right, so after much faffing, would I recommend you do it this way? Yeah. No, don't do it this way. It just gets snagged on it so much. Maybe if you pull the length of the cable in, the conduit, slid it down, then put the gland on. It's just a lot of faffing. It's something that I've wanted to try literally for years to see if it would work. I think it looks great. I think the usability of it, that's a word, is future-proof into a point. Is it any better than just sliding over conduit into the floorboard and into the box? No, probably get an easier fixing and finish as well. But I ran out of glands, so this is what I meant here, is you haven't got the gland lip to go over. I can just cut these flat with a multi-tool once it's been plastered. Well, ideally no, because the cables will be in. But yeah, that would probably be easier for us. But it's just the bends. I figured out if you cut the 2.5 to a point, to a triangle, it does go easier. But then as soon as you bend the cable, some of the copper strands, as it bends, they come out and they end up catching everything. I sort of knew this was going to go this way to a point. You can do pulls with leads, with string through it, with a hoover. There's loads of different methods to get it through. And obviously you've got, what they call, tape feeds, whatever they're called. Like long tapes that you can feed through, which you can easily pull it out. I actually have one, and it would work in this process. But it was interesting to see what we could do with a chaser. Last thing but not least, before I go, I put this board back down. I did the light switch, just going to run some 3-core up, over, across this beam and bring it to here. And then next week we're going to be doing all the light. So there will be more videos at this place. If there's anything more that you guys want me to try out that's different, that's not the usual rewire stuff, please put it in the comment section below. I'll happily give it a go. I've got another, God knows how many rewires coming up, 2 before Christmas I think, and we've got loads already sort of planned in for the new year. So I'm more than happy to try stuff. If it helps you guys out, if we can learn something, if we learn it's a good way or a bad way, I don't mind. It's worth giving it a go. Hit the like, subscribe if you can. If you haven't already, please, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care now. Bye bye then.